lake effect getting going. Inland, not an issue, but downwind with that northwest wind, you're going to still see the support for more lake effect snow. We'll see if we can keep a close eye on that, but it looks like we're going to watch that wind relax this evening and eventually try to come back once we get into tomorrow afternoon with gusts over about 30. So just some things we're going to be watching as we go throughout the next 48 hours before this all is said and done. Temperatures right now in the 20s, like I said, wind chills with those winds gusting are up there. I mean, big time wind, so big time wind chills in the single digits. If you have school this morning, then you're getting to school with wind chills in the single digits. Here's your satellite and radar. We're watching this. Lake effect, lake effect, lake effect. Huron has shut down, which is good news for us for now. You've got a little bit of a west breeze. That will shift more out of the northwest right around midday. That should push this out of here, but in the meantime, I'm still tracking some good snowfall. I'm going to zoom in on it for us this morning. We'll show you where we are. We'll dive into this. Here's our live Cleveland radar. It just looks like a mess. Nothing too heavy, but with that wind, that moderate snowfall is creating an absolute nightmare on the streets. This should shut down. The widespread stuff should shut down within the next couple of hours, and then we'll shift our focus over to that lake effect like I was telling you, and I think things kind of increase and improve throughout the day. Unless you're in that primary snow belt where that lake effect snow warning is in effect. Models have really trimmed down on some, not for Erie, PA, and parts of like near Conneaut, but I think you could probably double that where those squalls persist. That's why I expect maybe up to another 6 inches. All right, forecast, current conditions, got a lot of that out of the way, a lot to talk about. I want to get you at I want to show you what we're doing right now. This is Mike Holden. He's outside braving the winter weather, the wind.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, hold on to your hood, man. Hold on to that mic.
Trying.
All right, what do you got for us?
Yeah. All right, we're still kicking out here, Trent. The wind is horrible. Underneath this down coat and about 7 layers, you can still feel it. So the advice to people watching at home, if you don't have to go out, just chill inside. It is brutal out here. We're standing in a parking lot of Beechwood Dental right off of 271 northbound a little after 7 o'clock this morning. And we're going to try to show you what's in front of us and behind us, but it is literal whiteout conditions. You can't see anything probably 10, 15 feet in front of you. We did have multiple plows rolling through these parking lots. We're standing also right next to a Bob Evans over here, and we spotted more people trying to pass through here. We saw delivery trucks. There's still a couple crews getting to work and trying to get the job done, but you can see with the lights overhead, the snow just continues to come down. And yeah, it's only about 2 inches, but it is blowing back and forth, making visibility basically impossible at this point. As we move closer to 271 northbound, photojournalist Dave Kraska is getting a closer look. These cars are driving so slow, I'd say maybe 25, 30 miles per hour on this highway. 271 southbound appears to be moving faster, but it was really a scary moment probably 5 minutes ago where we watched a school bus. It looked like they were just sliding and gliding across 271 northbound. Luckily and thankfully, no accidents from what we're seeing at this vantage point, but I want to try to pan back over this way, Dave. We'll squeeze past the car. I'll stay close so we don't have to go too far. We've got a wall to work with over here too. But as we come over this way, oh my gosh, that wind is horrible. This is the exit ramp to get off. This is right by the old Bahama Breeze, which has since gone out of business in that Porsche dealership. This gives you perspective of those exit ramps and entrance ramps. These people are just sliding at one point. You can see that last guy driving with their hazards on, some people honking to try to get attention of the other drivers. Like, we got to keep going. Please just hit the gas, keep going. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. Basically no visibility and virtually whiteout conditions right here in Beechwood along 271 northbound. In the meantime, I want to send it over to my colleague, Bryn Caswell, who is also tracking some of the worst of this. How are things looking by you and where are you at, Bryn?
Hey Mike, I'm right downtown Cleveland on Huron Road East, and you can see the snow is coming down. And if you are downtown and you're walking on the street, it is like a wind tunnel. See? The wind is picking up as I'm speaking. You can see the snow twisting. Lots of weather happening down here right now. As we've been out here for the last couple hours, it was a light dusting, but the snow has not stopped. It's relentless, and it's really starting to accumulate here on the sidewalks and on the streets. You can see the streets. They are very, very slick. Be careful if you're heading into work this morning. We're near the Gateway District parking garage, and people are coming into work this morning, it appears. But if you are, you got to take the roads incredibly slow. these types of freezing cold temperatures, salt cannot be laid down on the road, so you really got to take it easy because it is slick out there. Since we've been out here, we've seen a couple snowplows make their way trying to clear the roads, but as we continue to stay out here, the snow is just accumulating back up. I'm going to send things over now to our Caitlin Hunt. She's been in our traffic tracker all morning long, getting us a firsthand look at the roads. Caitlin, where are you and what are you seeing right now?
Yep, Brent, we just picked up the turnpike here in the Streetsboro area. I'll give you a look here. Roads just covered in snow right now. As you can see, visibility is really poor right now as well because that snow, it's that wind that we've been talking about all this morning, is just blowing in our direction as well. Again, we're taking it slow. We're going 30 miles per hour, and everyone knows if you're on the freeway, that's not the speed that you're going to want to take it at all. The roads, we're just following those tracks of those cars ahead of us, but everyone is taking it slow this morning. Let's head over to my maps because literally if you look at the map, you can see on that eastern, especially on the east side, yep, you can see all that yellow and red just popping up on all our different freeways here as well. And then you can also see, I see several accident icons popping up as well. I can kind of do a quick roundup here. Something just popped up again on 480. It looks like I-480 eastbound near Lee Road as well. We're also keeping an eye down on 77 too. There's an accident. Looks like the right lane was blocked near Wheatley Road, that exit heading westbound. And then we go up to I-90. There's been an accident reported near Nagel Road. And then again, during the Jennings, I think Trent mentioned this accident earlier. It looked like someone had spun out. That's Ohio I-76 southbound. There's an accident there as well. I can bring that up on the ODOT camera. As you can see, yep, car spun out off to the side. Looks like it's getting the help that it needs right now. Hopefully it can get pulled out as well. But as you can see also on those roads, they're pretty much, there's just a dusting of snow on them and people are taking it slow as well. But you want to be that cautious and careful because you can slip and slide. We've been slipping and sliding this morning sometimes when we're moving over to different lanes. Also when we're getting on these on-ramps and also off these exit ramps as well, those plows have not made it through in those areas. And so there's just a covering of snow and slush there as well. So you want to take it slow this morning. As Trent says, sometimes if you hit ice, going slow may not even help, but try to stay inside if you can, because it's just nasty out here this morning since we've been showing you, and hopefully this doesn't last too much longer, but Trent has more on that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Caitlin. 7-Eleven right now. I mean, it's just, there's spin outs, there's slide outs. We've been showing you earlier this morning at about 6:30 on that 271-480 bridge there. Cars were just kind of sliding sideways just to try to get up that bridge. Any of these little slants of these bridges that are elevated, I mean, that's going to be the issue. I've been kind of searching around these ODOT cameras, and I'm gonna show you the behind the scenes stuff here just so I can show you as many as possible. This is 90 at Hilliard. It looks like the road still, you have like some lanes in there, but changing lanes, your tires are going to hit that slush in between. You've got it blowing around, so you've got visibility issues. We can just roll right on through here. You've got some of the blowing snow from cars in front of you as well. That's west of Warren. Here's one of the cameras, west 117th. Looks like that on-ramp and off-ramp right there, it's passable, right? I mean, you can see what's going on, but just be careful, extremely careful. Here's 90 at west across a bridge. Any of those bridges are likely going to be much slicker than any of the regular roads that are on the ground. Here's West 84th. Let's keep going through it. West 44th Street, slowing down. Look at the roads. They just look like they've been plowed, but you get more and more tires out on them. You get more and more kind of compacting that down, plus the wind blowing more snow on top of it. You got some of those concerns. Here's Fulton. Looks like traffic is just going on the slow side. Kenilworth, this is going up and across. You can see 90s on the left side there, kind of coming up onto 71. This is 71 coming into town. This is going to be back the other direction on the other side, looking back across the bridge. Just be safe. Slick. That bridge is likely going to be a sheet of ice. And if you've got rear-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just kind of trying to keep the rear end behind you. Just got to be careful. It gets worse. I'm going to be real with you. The farther east we look, east and inland, the roads get pretty rough. Here's more snow. This is, you can see the Eddy Road, Bratnall exit is 1.5 miles away from MLK Junior Drive. Pretty snowy. Here's East 105th. You've got snow stuck to the lens there. We'll go to Babbitt Road. You've got back into the blowing snow. I mean, the farther east you go and a little bit farther inland, the more of those concerns you get. This is where Caitlin was driving around. This is 271, 480 south. It's that southern exchange or interchange right there. Go a little bit farther down on this list and we can show you the north exchange. I want to show you that bridge again. See if we can show you, if I can find the camera that was showing us that. Here we go. Exactly what Caitlin was talking about and we were showing you earlier. That has got to be, I haven't been on it yet this morning, but that has got to be a sheet of ice with how slow and how kind of at an angle everybody's driving on that street. I mean, you've got cars on the inside there, you've got cars that are slowly going on the outside. Look at them kind of aiming upwards, just trying to keep that rear end behind you. All right, so I'm going to show you where we are. I'm going to show you, before we go out to Bryn, back out live, I want to show you where we are as far as your radar and as far as everything's concerned. It's cold. We're in the 20s as you head out the door right now. That is a huge concern. That means anything elevated with temperatures this cold will be a sheet of ice like we're showing you. You've got some wind chill values where you're outside and out and about trying to get cars out of the ditches in single-digit wind chills. Any exposed skin, that's like hypothermia. That's like frostbite kind of type stuff we're talking about. Big time issues. Lake effect snow off all the Great Lakes elsewhere around the area. Those will set up across the area. What do we have here? Cleveland Division of Police have, is this a message? Twitter, Facebook? This might be a Facebook. Reports of many traffic lights out in the downtown area. We've been telling you about that. If you're commuting in, make sure you use extra caution. Avoid downtown. Cleveland police saying avoid downtown, and make sure you treat all of those the outages, the out street lights, power street lights as four-way stops. So just make sure you're careful. I want to show you, I'm going to zoom in on some of this for us this morning and show you where we are. I'm going to jump over to the radar. This is what I'm watching. This is this area of snowfall. It looks like it's showing some signs of weakening right here. This should try to push on out of here. This is a nice little break rolling into like Ashtabula County. There's lightning in Erie, PA, where that blizzard warning is in effect from that still rolling on. As this tries to shut down, that's when we're going to watch this wave roll in here, and we'll shift away from the broad, this kind of widespread little chunk of snow that stretches all the way through. We're going to watch this pull out of here, and then we're going to see those squalls, those lake effect squalls set up. All right, 7:16, Bryn's out in it. She's downtown. We're just talking about how the Cleveland Division of Police is telling people to avoid downtown if possible and treat those stoplights as four-way stops. What do you got here? Somebody out commuting?
Hey guys, yes, I'm joined now with Jonathan. He's an early bird like us. He just got off work. Jonathan, when you came out to your car this morning, we're here on Huron Road East. What went through your head?
A disaster. It's a mess out here.
And what do you have going on later today? You're not done with your day. It's kind of just getting started for you, even though you just got off work.
Right. Well, go home and get some sleep. I worked overnight and walked out into this mess here. And I have to be back again tonight, so hopefully things slow up, but I don't think it will.
Now, looking at the roads in front of us, do these road conditions concern you at all when you're driving, home today and then back to work later tonight at all?
Yes, they do. It's a lot of black ice out, and hopefully ODOT gets on their thing.
Mm-hmm. We can only hope. You've been out here just trying to dust your car off.
Yeah.
But I swear, since we've been out here, it's already accumulated again. Like, the snow has not stopped down here, and the wind is hitting us in our face. But in true Clevelander fashion, you don't have any gloves on.
No, not at all. Welcome to Northeast Ohio.
Hey, there we go. And hey, Jonathan told me he's going to Mexico soon, you guys.
Yes, Cabo. Yes.
So he's escaping the cold, unlike us crazies who are stuck out here braving it. So Jonathan, thank you so much for being with us.
Welcome. You're
Get
welcome.
warm and be safe while traveling tonight,
I will.
okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Enjoy.
So yeah, this is, I'm gonna give you guys another look at the roads. I'm gonna scoot on by here. We have seen snow plows this morning, but the snow keeps coming down here downtown Cleveland. And like I said earlier, the temperatures are so cold that the salt trucks can't come out and put salt down. So if you're traveling into work this morning, I know there will probably be a bunch of people calling in trying to work from home, which makes sense because the roads are horrible this morning. Take it easy, take it slow. You do not want to risk spinning out or getting in a car accident today. And really, if you can just stay home, just do it. Enjoy your day from home, try to work from home. Everyone likes that, right? Every once in a while. So again, Jonathan, he's taken off. He's going home. He's going to crawl into his warm bed. We love it. Thank you for being with us this morning. I'm going to send things over to our Mike Holden. Mike, you've been braving the wind. I can hear it.
Yeah.
How are you doing this morning? What are you seeing so far?
Bryn, I want to ask your buddy Jonathan, does he need a travel buddy? Because it is awful right here in Beechwood. I know, it's so bad. The wind is howling. Like, I'll pause for one moment right here. It is just whipping back and forth. And as you get a live look at 271 northbound, I think we're a little after 7:15 this morning. Traffic is moving, but everyone going roughly 25, 30 miles per hour because of that blowing, drifting snow. As Trent said repeatedly, it is not the accumulation, it is the drifting snow and the whiteout conditions making it virtually impossible to see in front of you. As we get a live look at 271 southbound, the opposite side of the road by the Embassy Suites, just past the Bahama Breeze out here, which went out of business. You can see those cars are also going extremely slow. They seem to be following what appears to be a single file line approach because there's a large semi-truck driving with its hazards on. And every time we get out of the car in between live shots and taking breaks, I say to photojournalist Dave Kraska, man, this is the worst. This is the worst it's been. And I feel like I keep speaking too soon because it has gotten worse and worse every 30 minutes from 6 o'clock on, now till a little after 7:15. It is brutal. I'm going to walk over here. We're going to do a little semicircle because we're in the parking lot of Beechwood Dental. And you can see the parking lot is snow covered. It's manageable. You can walk through it. But Trent said if it appears wet, it is going to be very slippery. And now it's the wind. It's this howling, biting wind. Imagine trying to walk through this. We watched delivery truck drivers hauling out multiple product, dropping it off right here at the Bob Evans, just off of 271 northbound. And honestly, I can't even see in front of me right now because this wind is so bad. Dave, let's go a little bit over here more because now you can see one of these plows in action trying to remove that excess snow from the parking lot of the Porsche dealership as these cars and the traffic now from 271 northbound. You say whiteout conditions. I mean, it's brutal out here. So if you have loved ones at home, again, Bryn said if you can work from home, great. Give your loved ones, your friends, your family the heads up that it is very bad out here this morning, and it's going to be a rough go for everybody. In the meantime, we talked about rough go. Caitlin Hunt is in one of our traffic trackers in the heart of all of it. Caitlin, where are you at right now, and what are you seeing?
Oh, well, Mike, I think you have the tough job, you and Bryn being out in the cold. I mean, gosh, we can hear the wind here in the car. We're still on the turnpike here on I-80. We're about ready to get off and get on 77 to get a check of those roads. But here's what we're looking at here. As I've been saying this morning, road conditions vary depending on where you're at. Right now, we've sort of entered a stretch where it's a bit more on the slushy side, I would say. It's not completely snow covered like we've been seeing in some parts this morning as well. We can kind of see the road lines, but we're still following those tracks of those cars who've been there ahead of us. We're going a little bit faster now just because we feel like we can see there's some visibility here. We're going 44. A while back we were talking about going 25 miles per hour. So we sped up just a little bit, but conditions, again, they vary. Let's head over to my map though, and you'll see what I mean. Everyone is taking it slow this morning, it seems, because I'm seeing so much yellow and red pop up this morning on my map, which is a good thing. That's exactly what we want you to be doing this morning if you absolutely have to get out on the road. But something else you're also seeing, I see a lot of red accident icons just popping up on the map, even in between just, preparing my maps to show off to you guys. There's even more popping up that I haven't had a chance to look into yet, but let's do kind of a quick roundup of what I've been seeing since we've last talked. So another accident popped up on I-271 northbound. This is kind of near I-77, I-80, getting on that ramp as well. Don't have too much more information beyond that right now as well. Another accident popped up, looked like it was on an off ramp to Route 2, that 90 area in the downtown area. As you can see, there's that big old stretch of red, which means there's a major backup happening there as well. Then let's go. What else do I have here? Yep, accident on I-480 eastbound near Lee Road. There was another accident that popped up there as well. And still watching some other things as well. Watching that right lane blocked on Wheatley Road exit near westbound on 77 as well. And then also taking a look at I-90 westbound near Nagel Road. There was an accident that popped up there as well, but it looks like it's green in the most part. That's in the Avon area, which is a good thing. So no backups happening in that area as well. There was also that accident on the Jennings that we were talking about earlier, and we had an ODOT camera there showing it as well. Looked like a car had spun out and off the road as well. Looks like they were getting some help there at the moment of the last time that we spoke. But again, you want to take it slow. Everyone else is doing it, so you should do the same as well. And I think once you get on the road, you'll see why. Conditions just vary from where you're going, but on that east side is where we're definitely seeing a lot of snow-covered roads, especially on 271 where Mike Holden was. We were just driving so slow. We're also seeing a lot of spin-outs as well that aren't being reported on my radar too. We just passed a semi that looked like they went back into a snowbank, as well. So take your time this morning, add that extra time into your commute if you absolutely have to get out on the roads. But as we've been telling you this morning and as you've been seeing, it's probably best to stay inside if you can. Trent?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Basically, spinouts everywhere, slow everywhere. I want to show you this camera again here. Caitlin's talking about 271, 480. This is 480 that comes across here. Cars are just going slow. At times, there's nobody going across. There's a car against the wall there. It's a banked turn, elevated, so the road's 20 degrees. And that's a sheet of ice. Got to be careful, extremely careful. You've got tons of closures and delays. That's on news5cleveland.com. Just scroll through that list, over 200 of them. Temps in the 20s, so salt doesn't really work at this temperature. So things aren't really going to be melting much. It's windy. It's going to stay windy through the day today. It's going to stay out of the northwest this afternoon. It's actually going to pick up more out of the northwest, and that's what's going to spark that lake effect band, a couple of them likely developing. Best news I can tell you, southwest winds tomorrow. Should push that lake effect out of here. We'll push the cold air out of here this weekend. Wind chills right now in the single digits. It is brutal. I'm going to zoom in on this snow in way more detail coming up in just a few minutes, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. right, welcome back. 728. We are on the air still covering this. Lake effect snow warnings. This is because of what's developing over the next few hours. Winter weather advisories essentially for everybody, though. In the area here, you're seeing the farther inland, not as big of an impact from snow, but check it out. It's more of an impact, more widespread than what we were dealing with. And I can't stop showing you guys this right here, 271, 480. I think this 271, goes this way, and 480 comes along here. This is where they kind of split, the split there, or the merge, depending on which way you're going. But the merge to south is still slow, and this is the bridge. This has been, I mean, it looks like a sheet of ice. We've had cars make it through. We've also had cars piling up there along the guardrail there, along the concrete wall. This is an issue, huge issue. So if you're heading anywhere this morning, give it some time because things will improve. But with the wind out there, even though, as I was telling you yesterday morning, the forecast has only been for a couple inches, a trace to 2, maybe 3 inches with a clipper. That's general. That's the rule with those. You throw in some lake effect afterwards, and that's where we start talking about the lake effect warning, in some spots getting another 6 inches on top of that, maximum 8, 9, 10 inches. That was yesterday's forecast, and that is still on target for this morning. Waking up on the heels of that clipper with a couple inches of snow, but 40, 45 mile per hour winds. That's the impact. Near blizzard conditions. Doesn't matter how much snow you have. With winds over 35 miles per hour, that visibility is going to be dropping down to less than a quarter mile, and that's when we start talking about the blizzard criteria. No blizzard warnings out there right now. It has to last 3 hours. Either way, don't worry about that. The impacts are still here. Don't worry about this and that, the criteria between warnings. I want you to know that we've got some incredibly terrible and dangerous roads outside right now. Temperatures are all in the low 20s. Winds are all gusting over 35 to 45, maybe even as high as 50 miles per hour for the next few hours. So we've got the wind, I've got the snow, we've got wind chills in the single digits. Even inland where you're not dealing with the snow really, you've still got some big wind. The biggest wind, the strongest wind is going to be Ashtabula to Cleveland and then tapering off inland. Now watch what happens as we get into this afternoon. Right now it's mainly a west wind, but it'll pick up a little more out of the northwest, and this is when we'll start to see a couple of those squalls set up. Big ones setting up off of Lake Huron going toward Erie, Conneaut, maybe near Ashtabula, but we should have enough of a push to keep it mostly out of Ohio. But blizzard warnings in effect for Erie, and that actually, in addition to what they're talking about from additional snowfall, the National Weather Service just got clarification. They're talking about the snowpack, how heavy, how wet, and how big the snowpack is for Erie, PA, damaging structures. When you're talking about the wind, the weight, that's what that blizzard warning for them is really for, in addition to the additional snowfall, but huge impacts. Winds die down tonight. They'll still be out of the northwest. So I don't think it just shuts down tonight. I think it's going to be a process. But through tomorrow, west winds take over. Still gusty, not as windy as today, but still gusty. And that's going to push that lake effect snow out of here and should eventually warm us up as we get through the weekend. Now, here we go. 20s outside right now. It is cold. Temperatures everywhere. So any bridges that are elevated will be icy. If it looks wet, treat it like ice. I'm showing you that bridge, 271, 480. It's been a rough for a couple hours now. Wind chills in the single digits. Even if you're not dealing with slick roads or more snow, it's windy and it's cold outside. Here's your radar. Here's the snow. This is it. This is all that's left. We had a widespread clipper roll through. This is a little bit of lake enhancement on the back side of it. I can zoom in on it right here, show you where we are, show you what I'm tracking. It's not necessarily something that's going to be like in squalls where you see those heavy bands of 2 inch per hour. This is about a ½ an inch per hour snowfall, so it's not the heaviest, but it's just getting ripped and whipped by the wind out there. So anywhere from Conneaut, Ashtabula, our state line, all the way through like Brecksville, that's where we're dealing with some pretty good snowfall. Even on the west side a little bit. Westlake, we've had some accidents. Caitlin was telling us about near Nagle, in Lorain County, near Avon, all the way down through Richfield. There's Hudson, some pretty good snowfall. Caitlin's been driving on this route right here, and that has just been nailed with the icy bridge right there. You've got other areas that are going to be slick as well. Any of those roads that are elevated and kind of banked, yikes. Here's your future cast. Let's walk you through what's going on throughout the day today. The main snow, here it is. That's it. The models have been spot on with this. So I'm going to run with this also. Runs out of here by around 9 or 10 o'clock. By noon, those winds, like I've been telling you, are going to start to shift directions. It's west, gusting to 46, 50 miles per hour at times. Should start to shift. You see how it goes west-northwest, still strong? That's when that lake effect starts to crank up. This is that Erie, PA, that fetch coming off of Lake Huron. That's going to be a big one. These aren't nearly as big or as intense, but they're still going to be impactful. We're still going to have to dodge some lake effect snow throughout the rest of the day. Late afternoon, early evening, those set up, and where those squalls hang out, that's where I'm talking about maybe another 2, 4, maybe 6, if it hangs around enough inches on top of what's already on the ground this morning. Things should settle down like we showed you earlier. The winds turn directions, change around, and get on out of here. Model's really dumping some snow with that big one right there. Putting about 2 to 3 across the area, but we've seen it. We know where those squalls persist. We could easily double that. So 4 to 6, totally doable. Things should shut down tomorrow and warm up this weekend. We'll get to that in more detail, but right now I want to get you out the door. Mike Holden, he's been out brave in the wind and the cold and the visibility. And man, I got to give you big props. You've been doing a great job this morning. Hopefully you're staying warm, but what do you have for us?
Thank you, I appreciate it. You've been doing a great job too. Kudos to photojournalist Dave Kraska, everybody who's out there in the elements. To the drivers, the walkers, the commuters, it is absolutely brutal right here along 271 northbound. We're standing in a parking lot of Beechwood Dental, which is by the Porsche dealership, and you can see that traffic is crawling towards us. I'd say at this point, a little after 7:30 this morning, folks are doing maybe 30 miles per hour, but you can see with these live images, these cars aren't going anywhere too fast, and you can't even make out the lanes on the highway. In some instances, it's kind of just drivers freestyling, following the lights in front of them. Some of these drivers honking repeatedly to indicate that they're in front of people or behind them. And perhaps the worst point this morning was right around 6:45 when we spotted a school bus that was just sliding and sliding in the middle of the highway. Thankfully, they were able to get out of this area. But it is the wind, it is the snow, it is the drifting snow. We're going to go on a short walk this way. This is again in the parking lot of Beechwood Dental. And when I say whiteout conditions, I mean I can't see more than 10, 15 feet in front of me. Not a crazy amount of snow on the ground, maybe 1-2 inches, but it's these who have been really going hard to work this morning as they continue to plow these parking lots for businesses like this neighboring Bob Evans, as well as the Porsche dealership steps away. And as you can see, as Dave Kraska continues to move in, with those lights, it is very hard to make out anything in front of you because it has been this constant blowing and drifting snow. For folks that are just waking up this morning, Bryn said it best maybe 40 minutes ago. If you can, stay at home. If you can work from home, even better. Let's go towards this highway really quick, Dave, because it looks like this car is really struggling trying to get over here. I've got very good boots on, too. I'll use this railing just to get my balance. But you can see these cars with a live look right now crawling towards the exit ramp of 271 northbound here in Beechwood. 271 southbound. Looks like traffic is moving even slower over there. So we will continue to monitor this situation, layer up. You're going to need a lot of them, especially if you're going to be out here this morning. In the meantime, I want to send it over to my colleague, Bryn Caswell, who has a big traffic alert for everybody in downtown Cleveland. What are you experiencing over there, Bryn?
Hey there, Mike. So the Cleveland Police Department recently tweeted out just minutes ago that they are aware that multiple traffic lights downtown are completely out. They're asking drivers this morning to take it slow and treat these intersections just like a four-way stop. Right now I'm at the intersection of East 9th and Prospect. You just heard a couple horns going off. Drivers, please take it slow. Again, like I said, Cleveland Police are asking people to treat it as a four-way stop. And they did say, Cleveland Police said they have alerted power crews and they are going to be, out here trying to restore the power. You can see there's a cruiser right there that just arrived here at this intersection to maybe get things under control a little bit. But it is windy downtown right now. I mean, it is like a wind tunnel getting caught down here. I have to brace myself so I don't blow over here. I want to give you guys a look at some of these flags over here. We're right in front of the Cuyahoga County Administration building, and just look how windy it is. It is wild out here. I cannot remember the last time I was in winter conditions like this. And the roads, like I said, it's very, very slick. I've been telling people all morning, if you have the opportunity to stay home and work from home today, take it. Just do it. Who doesn't like working from home every once in a while? The roads are bad. And I'm going to send things over to my colleague, Caitlin Hunt. Caitlin, you've been out in the traffic tracker all morning long. Where are you at right now? The roads are dangerous and you've seen a couple of accidents.
Yeah, that's for sure, Bryn. We just hopped on 77 here, got off the turnpike. We're in the Independence area. Here's your look here. It does not look like a snowplow has been through here recently. As we've been, reiterating, this morning, we're just following, the tracks of the cars who have been here before us, those pioneers who dared out to go out in the snow this morning, and we're taking it really slow. One thing I have been noticing as well this morning, Bryn, you've been telling people, stay at home, work from home if you can, but there's still a lot of people out on the roads here this morning. We're in a cluster right now as well. You see the sign here, the speed limit is 60 miles per hour. We're going 30 miles per hour. So again, we're one of those people taking that advice of going slow. As you can see on the roads here, there's still a lot of snow, pushed off to the side, but that wind is blowing it into the middle of the road, creating some slushy conditions. The snow's in the road, and we haven't slid on this road, but earlier in the morning we were sliding, trying to pass those lanes, move over to a different lane, especially on 271 where Mike Holden is as well. I would say visibility is getting a little bit better now that the sun's coming up. We're getting some light as well. It's not as dark, so we can actually see things. But again, you want to take it slow. I'm also seeing, on these exit ramps, these on ramps, just covered in snow. And so it's just there. It's all over the place. Also, what I'm seeing, if we head over to my maps, just a lot of accidents, unfortunately, this morning. If you see at my map right now, it's just lighting up with those accident icons. And especially on the east side of Cleveland, you can see just a lot of yellow, a lot of red, hardly any green this morning. And that yellow and red indicates that everyone is taking it slow. And also that there's a lot of backups. So if you're headed out the door this morning, you want to add that into your time, into your commute time. It's going to take you a while to get into basically anywhere you're going, especially if it's along those routes. We'll do a quick roundup here of accidents because some are clearing up, which is some good news, but some things that have popped up since I last spoke with everyone. There was an accident on I-90 eastbound, kind of near Noble, near that area. You can see the red lines right there causing a bit of a backup there. Working to get some more information as well on what was going on there as well. Once again, that accident on I-271 northbound is still popping up too. Also having an accident pop up nearby on I-480 near Lee Road too. You can see there's a big red line there. Could be a slowdown. Trying to find some ODOT cameras, but a lot of the ODOT cameras are covered in snow, so it's hard to get a look of what exactly is happening along some of these roads here. And still, there's that accident in the right lane. It's blocked on Wheatley Road, that exit near heading westbound on 77 as well. But overall, some accidents are clearing up. I think I also mentioned that on I-76 near the Jennings, looks like a car had spun out on the side of the road. Looks like that was cleared. Looks like that guy got some help this morning, which is great. Also, there's a lot more accidents happening this morning than what is appearing on my radar. As we've mentioned, I've seen semis jackknife into the medians, people sliding off on the roads. So there's a lot more happening, and overall, like we've all been saying this morning, your best bet this morning is you're going to want to take it slow this morning if you absolutely have to get out of the roads. If you don't, like Bryn's been saying this morning, stay at home, work from home, get you some hot chocolate, some coffee, stay warm, because it is definitely messy out here. Trent?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Good information. 7:42 right now, and this is one of the reasons why we're covering up Good Morning America, why we're staying on the air, because we want to let you know about situations like this. I'm seeing a couple cars try to sneak through every once in a while. It just looks like a sheet of ice. This is 480 rather, when it splits off from 271. 271 goes northbound right here up onto the east side. This cuts over and heads toward like 77. So anybody coming north on that 480, 271 area that kind of runs together right before the split, it's going to be a parking lot. 271 is moving, but moving slowly. 271 northbound. Looks like 271 southbound is doing all right. 480 southbound as it rolls in and merges with 271. That's looking okay, but I mean, you're seeing it right here. Cars are trying to weave around cars and try to weave through areas. Looks like we've had some cars that are kind of against the wall here, but they're getting through on the far right lane there.
Ashtabula, level 3.
Ashtabula County, level 3 road emergency. That means nobody on the streets unless it's an absolute emergency or unless you're an emergency responder. level 3 for Ashtabula County. Thanks a lot, Mike Brookbank, for getting us that information. We've got the whole newsroom going around, getting information, getting reports and everything, and we're actually going to talk to a spokesperson from ODOT coming up in about 7 minutes here, so stay tuned for that. But man, just wild to see an interstate bridge like that is just shut. I mean, it's a sheet of ice. It's not technically shut down, but it is borderline impassable. Cars are just barely. It's at a bank. That road is banked, so that's why they're having the issues with there. All right, so bear with me. I'm going to roll around a couple other cameras. Here's 90 at 271. Let's see if we can show you some of this. This is 271 a little bit farther to the north. Similar situations, not as bad, but you can see this banked road here. Be easy on these turns. Man, rough to watch some of these cars try to roll through here. Looks like they're doing all right, though, with that left-hand turn there on 90. That's 90, I think that's eastbound, where 271 goes to the south there. So it's definitely an issue. 90 at 91, so a little bit farther east, essentially, from there. Looks like the camera's trying to move around just a little bit. Off ramps, on ramps. The problem is these plows get out. We told you earlier there's over 900 plows out on Ohio roads, but the wind just blows it right back on. The visibility is terrible, and especially these bridges, like the ground is warm enough in most spots, but the bridges are lofted up into that 20-degree air, and that's where you're having those issues. That's 271 at Cedar. Here's 271. Man, the roads just look, I mean, they've been plowed, but they look untouched. This is at Chagrin, so 422 at Chagrin. Just a sheet of ice. Let's go 480 to like Lancaster. Not bad. Not bad at all. Here's Transportation Boulevard. Man, watch that bridge, that Valley View Bridge there. That could be slick, extremely slick. Like I said, most of the roads have been warm enough to where things are going to be melting, but definitely something to keep a very, very close eye on. Well, let's go on the Jennings at Spring Road. That's not a current camera. That's not a current camera. Neither is that. Let's go to another one. Here we go. Here's 77 at Walling. So up on those off ramps, looks like 77 is very slow off into the distance. Go 77 at Hillside. Man, just a very slow morning. Let's go a little bit farther south, 77 at 82. So this is Brecksville. Looks like it's okay. It's been plowed, but that snow has tapered off for those areas. Let's go on the east side. Here's 90 at Vrooman. 90 at State Route 44. Just got to watch those snow-covered roads, watch changing lanes, watch what's going on. 480 at Tiedemann looks okay. Here's 90 at Ravenna Road, so we're going out farther to the east. Let's go farther. Let's see if we can get on out to Ashtabula County. We were talking about the level 3 emergency. Doesn't look bad on the interstates, but those city streets might be pretty rough. All right, let's jump over. Let me show you some. Here's Storm Tracker really quickly. Mike Holden's getting ready for us to go to him. Mike Holden, we're coming to you in a minute. Stand by. I want to show you really quickly. I'm going to update this and show you the closings and delays. 256 closures on news5cleveland.com. I mean, the full list there. I mean, just it stretches. I saw Hudson City Schools in there, Summit County, all the way up through down through Tuscarawas County. Delayed 2 hours. Indian Valley. Good luck this weekend. State championships, football team. Running back's a stud. Let's go. All right, Menor looking outside. I want to walk you through this real quick in Menor. I do have, if I can pop this up really quickly, I have a time lapse of what it looked like essentially earlier this morning. It wasn't bad until that burst rolled in. Let me see if I can load this up for us really quickly and show you the time lapse of Menor where the visibility was fine before the sun came up, and then boom, wind just blew that snow right onto that camera lens, and that's where you have those. That's what we're driving into. 40, 45 mile per hour winds, dropping those visibility numbers. Let's get to it. Let's walk through it. Here's Cleveland, Akron, Mansfield, Worcester. Temperature near 20 to 25 degrees. Winds gusting 35 to 45. Wind chills 5 to 10 degrees. You got a 12-degree wind chill right now in Cleveland. Big wind, big snow. The wind this afternoon shifts more out of the northwest, so that's going to support some lake effect snow, not the widespread stuff, but a couple squalls, a couple little bands of snow trying to come off. The biggest wind impact is going to be Erie, PA, over to about Conneaut, where the strongest winds may be gusting as high as 50, 55 possible coming off the lake. big time stuff, big time snow on the weight from that on structures. Already hearing some stuff in Erie that's just been terrible. We've seen it in Ashtabula as well. Good news, winds relax. It's still enough wind for lake effect, but it's not enough wind for like damage like what we're dealing with this morning. And then tomorrow they shift more out of the west southwest, pushes it all out of here, and we should have a nice little break. Here's your visibility numbers. Man, blowing snow, not from fog, from blowing snow. Just incredible. Temps, like I said, are in the low and mid 20s. Wind chills, single digits, almost below zero in some spots. You got some 4s across Ashland and Medina. Here's the snow. I showed you earlier that this is going to start to kind of break up a little bit, and I'm starting to get some good indications that it should start to do that, but it's just briefly, because in a few hours we're going to start to see some of those squalls setting up over the lake, and that's where we'll start to get in on those lake effect warnings and the additional snowfall. All right, so Mike Holden, he's out. Let's go to you, man. What do you have for us? You look like you are feeling the brunt of it.
Oh my gosh, Trent, it feels like I am in the middle of a snow globe and someone is just violently shaking it and then has a leaf blower right up to my face. It is the wind that is making it so terrible to be out here in these conditions. And you can see it. I mean, it is literally coming at us sideways. I've got my knees bent. I've got on my good boots. So does photojournalist Dave Kraska, who's up on a tripod. But we're standing just off of 271 northbound in the parking lot of Beechwood Dental, steps away from the Porsche dealership and Bahama Breeze, and it is whiteout conditions. I can barely see in front of me or behind me. That wind continues to kick up. Now, way off in the distance, Dave is actually giving you a live look of 271 northbound, and those cars are moving probably at like 35, 40 miles per hour. It seems like they're moving at a much faster pace than they were before, but it is still brutal out there. You can't make out where any of the lanes are. A lot of these drivers continue to honk at one another to give them the indication of I'm either right in front of you or I'm right behind you. And many of them are driving with their hazards on because it is just bitterly cold, whiteout conditions to the point where you can't see more than 5 to 10 feet in front of you. Now, I do have to say there's 970 ODOT crews statewide working to clear these roads. Then you have the private plow companies that are working to clear these business lots. But it's definitely been a nightmare situation for a lot of folks. And as we give you a live look, Dave, I'm going to step in front of your camera. Let's go to the right if possible. We'll go this way. Yeah, that looks good right there. And I just want to show these cars that are going extra slow trying to get off of here and then towards the exit ramp. But just beyond that point too, you can see more plows right there. Now, whiteout conditions, we say it over and over again. Give yourself some extra time. If you don't have to go out, please don't do so. Again, if you are in those larger vehicles, the school buses, very scary, treacherous conditions for a lot of folks. And if you have to wait at the bus stop or you're walking to work this morning, you're going to want to attach several layers because the winds are no joke out here. The temperature seems to be dropping, but I know for sure the wind is definitely causing major impacts as well. In the meantime, I'm going to step back in frame as we will continue to monitor these conditions in Beechwood as the winds continue to whip. I want to send it over to my colleague, Caitlin Hunt, who is also tracking these changing conditions. Caitlin, where are you at right now?
We're on the Jennings right now, Mike, and let me tell you, it is so much better, so much more of an improvement of what we've been seeing pretty much all this morning. As you can see, visibility is great. We can see the cars ahead of us. We don't have any snow blowing in our way as well, but the roads, they're still slushy. You still see that bit of snow off on the left shoulder here, and people are still driving slow and taking it slow, as they should be doing, because there's still some accidents that are popping up this morning as well. Let's head over to my map here. You can see, as I've been saying, that east side 271 just lighting up red and yellow, just a lot of slowdowns as well. But we're still seeing some slowdowns over on 90. There was an accident on 90 East on the west side of Cleveland near Marginal Drive here. Let's see, I had an ODOT camera in the area. Looks like traffic is moving, but for a bit there was the lanes were blocked and it was a parking lot. People were stopped, but still, that's going to impact your drive in this morning. As you can see, the roads over there, they look pretty clean, maybe just a little bit of slush on the roads, but for the most part, people are able to go to the speed limit and, just drive carefully this morning, especially wherever you're headed. I think that's the best piece of advice that we can give, because it looks like there's just been a dusting of snow in, the good part of the region here. Something else we want to bring up, if you're traveling just through, your towns and things like that, just be aware of a parking ban. We just got in that there was a parking snow ban issued in Newburgh Heights. So that means you got to get your vehicles out of the road, folks, if you're in that area as well. Park them in a driveway, find somewhere else to park them at, find a garage, just so that the snow plows can get through and clear the roads as well. If we throw it back to my camera here, we can show that there's a bit of a slowdown here going on right now as we continue on the Jennings as well. But people for the most part are out and about. I do have to say I've been seeing a lot of traffic this morning. I know we've been talking about, hey, if you can stay at home, stay at home. But it looks like a lot of people are still daring to get out on the roads here, either if they have to go to work or have appointments and things like that. So the roads are definitely busy. If you are driving, make sure you give people plenty of space, kind of like how we're doing as well. Because if you do hit a slick spot and you're just, tailing someone, you're going to run right into them, and you could hurt a lot of people, have a big collision happen as well. So give people space. Again, drive slow this morning. There could definitely be some slick spots, and just be careful, guys. There's a lot going on no matter where you're driving this morning. Trent?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Caitlin. Good job out there. Stay safe. Be careful. It's almost impossible for ODOT to keep these roads clean with those roads, winds gusting 40, 45, maybe 50 miles per hour. So we've got ODOT spokesperson. We've got Amanda McFarland here with us this morning. You guys had your hands full this morning.
Yes, certainly have. With those high winds, it really just makes it very difficult for our crews to keep the snow at bay and off the roadways, because every time they push it off, it blows right back on.
Yeah, it's been terrible. Plus, you've got these bridges and overpasses. We've got a shot up right now. This is from one of the ODOT cameras of like the 271 480 split. Any of these roads that have been elevated, they're up into that 20-degree air, and I mean, they just turn into a sheet of ice. I mean, do you know about like how much salt works with these temperatures?
When the pavement temperatures get that cold, we do put additives in the salt that help aid in the de-icing process that work at lower temperatures, because we know, as you mentioned, that those areas, the ramps, bridges, and overpasses, they do tend to get much, much colder than the ground surface roads. And so we have to treat them a little bit differently in order to keep them free of the icy and slippery conditions.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we just saw a plow roll through that bridge. We've been watching it all morning. It just looks like a skating rink, but it looks a little bit better now. Do you know about how many? I don't mean to put you on the spot right now, but do you know about how many plows are out?
Yeah, there are well over 200 plows out in Northeast Ohio right now, and they're going to continue working around the clock. They began their 12-hour shifts overnight, so we'll get some fresh eyes coming on here between the 10 and noon hours in Northeast Ohio, and then those crews are expected to continue to work through the night as well. As you've mentioned, this lake effect snow is going to stick around for a little bit longer, so not just this morning's commute.
Yeah, right. We should get a little break here around midday as far as snowfall is concerned, and then it should pick right back up. And speaking of that, thank you guys so much. Thank you for getting up early this morning and talking with us. I'm gonna give you a quick forecast here over the next couple of minutes, and we're gonna dive into this, and then we're gonna take a quick little commercial break. But in the meantime, Amanda, thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, let's get to it. Let's show you the maps real quickly. I'm going to show you this ODOT camera. We'll walk you through it. This is what we've been talking about. A plow did roll through, so it looks like it pushed a lot of the slush off. But man alive, there's cars stuck on the right-hand side. So we're just, weaving through some lanes there. So not great. Still, again, over 250 closings and delays. That's on news5cleveland.com. We've got these cameras all over the place. This is Menor looking outside. Camera's just locked up. All right, right now. Temps near 20 degrees. It's snowy. It's not necessarily the heaviest snow right now, but because we have winds that are sustained at about 15 to 25, gusting 35 to 45 miles per hour, you've got those concerns. I'm going to pull up a current wind gust map here and see if we can show you some of the latest numbers with it. Here we go. 43 mile per hour wind gust in Menor, 28 in Akron, 36 in Worcester. These winds are going to stay strong. Not as strong as they are right now, but they're going to stay strong enough to support lake effect, and they're going to start to shift a little more out of the northwest. And that's when I think we're going to have some more concerns locally, not necessarily as widespread. Let me try to walk you through this future cast. Main batch of snow pulls out of here this morning. We get a break, and then as Amanda with ODOT was talking about, that lake effect starts to crank up with those northwest winds that try to support and fuel some more of that lake effect snow machine activity. That's why the lake effect snow warnings are in effect, is for what happens later on today. And I think there's going to be some big time snow from Ashtabula to about Erie, PA. It's really going to have some huge impacts. Locally, I know this right here is only showing 2 to 3, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple squalls get us up to around maybe 5 or 6. Should get out of here this weekend. Should be much better by next week, but it is wetter. We'll be right back.